Greetings, Booktopia. Nal here. Last one, I promise. Now, the final readathon I'm doing in September, yes, I realize how insane I am, is the Hogwarts House Battle-a-thon. Now, these are a bunch of challenges based upon the Hogwarts classes because, taking the newts wasn't enough this month. But it is a team challenge that you do based on your houses, which adds a little bit of extra fun. Now, the prompts are as follows. Astronomy is to read a book entirely at night. I don't know specifically which book is going to fill into this prompt, but since you can cross over books into multiple classes, most of my consumption is done at night when I am doing chores and making dinner and stuff post-work, so that's not going to be a problem to fill. But I'm not going to give a specific title now because it could be multiple. The next is Charms, which is to read a book that is new to you. And for this, I am dipping into my Apocalyptathon book of the Drowned World, in that I found this at random when searching for a book like a day before I found this challenge. So I'm counting that. DADA is, or Defense Against the Dark Arts, is to read a book that you previously put down. Now for this, I'm either going to pick Framed, which is by, I assume, a local-ish author who independently published a book and I met randomly post her book signing. She came into where I worked and had a shirt, asked me about my book. Okay, so I found a copy later in the year and I couldn't really get into it, but we'll give it another go. Or I might also pick up one of the several manga that I just have liked but haven't continued yet. Herbology is to read a book that is important to you, and I'm skipping back over to the Monsterthon, and I'm going to use my reread of Three Dark Crowns for this. It may have its problems, it may not be the best book ever written, but the series is really attached to me and to my YouTube experience, so there's that. Next we have History of Magic, and that's to read a book from a different genre, a different generation review, and it is also going to fill my Ancient Runes, which is to read a classic, and that is War of the Worlds, which not only is a classic for being classic's sake, but it was revolutionary and slightly unscrupulous at the time. For those of you who don't know, this is a classic alien invasion story, if not the classic alien invasion story that was a phenomenon because it was a radio show at one point, and no one realized that it wasn't the actual news. Yeah, not very ethical, but still, something I've been meaning to get around to and I haven't. Now, the next is Potions, which is to read a book that you don't normally, a genre you don't usually reach for. Now, if the group read, which is the Hufflepuff group read, does not apply, which is the Revolution of Bertie Randolph, then, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to fill for this, so this isn't a really successful TBR, but I'll probably shove in some sort of contemporary or self-help, because I just am not a huge fan of literary fiction or contemporary lit. It's not that I don't like it, it's just that I have a harder time connecting, but I don't exclude it because you never know. And so that's my initial inclination. Transfiguration is to read the book you last bought. Now, I picked up a couple at a Goodwill a few weeks ago, and I'm sorry, but there's one that's over 1,000 pages that I'm just not going to do. One is a sequel that I have read, but I would want to reread the first one, and given this month, that isn't possible. So that leaves me with either reading, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's Gregory Maguire's book, which is his take on the Nutcracker, or more realistically, the first volume of Sayuki, which I picked up at random there. Now, the next one is Arithmancy, which is to read a book with a number in the title, and for that, again, we're popping back over to the Apocalyptathon, and we're going with the 11th Plague. Muggle Studies is to read a hyped book, and I'm going over into my other readathons, and I'm either going to use Dune or Fires of Heaven, which is the next in the Wheel of Time series that I haven't gotten to, because these are pretty much the monsters of sci-fi and fantasy. They're supposedly automatic love, so you got to give them credit for that. The next is Magical Creatures, which is to read a book with an animal on the cover, and that is going to be The Bear and the Serpent by Adrian Tchaikovsky. The next is Divination, which is 3 to 5-star read. Now, I'm cheating a little bit on this because there are very, very few books that I consider pure 5 stars. I will say that I have really high expectations for The Bear and the Serpent because I enjoyed the first one so much, and I've really liked the tone that I've read in all of this author's previous works. So I probably have my best hopes up for that. I think it's going to really rate up there. Also, I've had a good experience with the Dune series and the Wheel of Time series so far, even if I haven't, bumped them up there, then they're still really good reads. And so we'll do that. Because honestly, I don't expect a 5-star ever, because if you expect something, you're just going to be disappointed. And I believe the last one is for Aberration, and that is to read a book entirely in public. Excuse me while I get a bit salty, but this will be either framed or one of the mangas that I have on my list, because I plan on reading those during my breaks at work. And if people can ignore 2, if not 3 staff-only signs and walk in at will, then I'm going to consider that public enough. Yeah, people, please, if you wouldn't do it at a big name store, don't do it at the mom and pop place. I'm begging you. And that brings us to the end of the House Battle Readathon. I hope you are participating. Please bring on the competition and enjoy. Toodles.